So welcome back to another weekly alternate history. Well, I guess the last weekly alternate history was 2 weeks ago. On Twitter, I posted an update why I was delaying it. It was to finish my Alternate Future of Europe Season 4. Now that it's over, I can return to this series and continue working on it. So, last week, I was suggested, what if China never fell under communist rule? And a lot of you guys posted a lot of comments, so let's get right into it. The Soviet Union and its allies will place sanctions on the new Chinese government. Then America will help rebuild Chinese economy. During the Korean War, China will send troops to aid the South Koreans, which will lead to a united democratic Korea. The Cold War will end sooner as well. Let's see. 30 million lives would have been saved from the lack of Mao's purge alone. Vietnam wouldn't have happened, Korea wouldn't have happened, or would have ended much sooner. Cold War would have ended far sooner, unless Russia tries and fails to communize China, in which another war might break out. Chiang Kai-shek and the Kuomintang pulled together a Pyrrhic victory in the Chinese Civil War. After this, the leaders of the CPC are publicly executed. However, everything isn't sunshine and daisies, as a peasant rebellion would likely occur. It will be put down quickly, but it would challenge the stability of the Republic of China. The Western allies will rush to the aid of China. Fast forward about a decade and the US supplies the ROK with weapons for a joint operation between the ROK and ROC to invade and liberate DRK, I assume that's Korea. It's a decisive victory. Soon Russia sees the power of a united China and does everything to strengthen warlords, giving them training and weapons. The Chinese see this and instead take the warlords' territory through diplomacy. After all that, they are just warlords. I could keep going on, but I'm gonna stop there. Then China would have been a third world country. What? If China never fell to communism, then of course nationalist China will win, and the warlords will be independent. Xinjiang, Zaibei, Sanma, Yuan, Klink, Yungun, Shi, Click, which will make China divided, and because of the Sino-Japanese War, China is almost destroyed, so Mongolia, which was a puppet of the USSR, invades China, retakes Inner Mongolia, and then a communist Genghis Khan conquers the entire world. The end. Communist Genghis Khan. Due to the fact that China lacked national unity back then, I assume that China was split up into an amount of smaller countries with distinct culture and language. After that, China will be limited to the region that is populated by Han Chinese. China would be easily conquered by Japan due to that, and an enormous amount of people would be repatriated, forced to become prostitutes just like in our Thailand, only at a far bigger scale. After its liberation, it will enter a time of crisis because of massive amounts of refugees and displaced people. Today, China is an irrelevant country with an average economy and is considered an advanced developing country. Philippines will never get angry at dim sum because of spratly. Oh yeah, the dispute. I did that in my Asia series. If China didn't fall in communism rule, probably it would join NATO. Vietnam and Korean wars would be different, and also USSR could fall fast in early 80s or late 70s. Well, I suppose that's not obvious enough, is it? Finally, China will keep its government then, because the Republic of China has adopted capitalist ideas earlier than the PRC. Its economy grows much swifter than in our timeline. This causes China to become a superpower along the United States and the weakening Soviet Union. Yeah. And now, it's time to give my alternate history on this alternate history. Where did that be wrong? But anyways, let's just get started. So, yes, you guys might know I am a descendant from China. Of course, I'm Canadian though. I'm born in Canada. Regardless, so my parents have told me stories about how like in the 1960s, like there was a lot of poverty, and then before you can eat, you have to like dance to Mao Zedong or something, and then do all that stuff before you can eat. And if you don't do it, then you'll be caught and you'll be questioned, why didn't you do it? And respecting Mao Zedong and stuff like that. So, in my opinion, if China didn't fall into communist rule, I just kind of feel the poverty might be a little bit worse. But according to my parents, like they told me that China started to become richer and richer because more companies or businesses started to invest in China, and eventually it reached out to China where it is, despite China being communist. So if China was democratic, I would still think that the companies would invest into China, and they might have done it earlier because it's also a capitalist country and its ties closer with the United States. So I'm certain more companies would definitely go invest in China, and China would have solved this poverty issue. And plus, my parents don't have to dance to Mao Zedong. Okay, that's enough of me blabbing. So yeah, and that is all for this week's Weekly Alternate History. And here's a suggestion for next week's Weekly Alternate History, suggested by the same person who suggested the last one, by Ryan Mapping. What if Germany made peace with the UK after the Battle of Britain in World War II? Leave your Weekly Alternate History below in the comments. And I'll see you on next week's Weekly Alternate History. And hopefully I won't delay it. Well, I guess I'm going to have an important update soon.